Anda kembali menyaksikan Merdeka Digital bersama saya Andi Shalini dan kami lanjutkan kembali perbincangan bersama dengan President Director of Financial Technology at GoTo, Sudhanshu Raheja. Sudhanshu, let's continue our discussion. Before the break, I would like to ask you about the merchant app. So why did GoTo Financial decide to develop the GoPay merchant app less than a year?
Again, the answer to that goes back into our core thesis of trying to drive financial inclusion and impact. Now, traditionally, GoPay has been very strong in serving enterprises and the large merchants, right? But when we went to MSMEs, we found a very different problem. What we realized, and in fact, Indonesia has one of the largest MSME ecosystems. There are about 64 million MSMEs in Indonesia. That's a very significant part of the population. So when we went and talked to them, what we realized was their key concern or problem in life was cash flow. And it's the daily cash flow. Because when you sell things, when it's cash, they can take that cash and go have lunch. When it's digital, that wasn't exactly the case, right? Because money takes longer to come in. So we talked about a lot of different ways in which we can go drive more impact in this segment. And we built out a GoPay merchant app which focuses on a few key things. And let me break them down. First, we made sure you can accept money from anywhere. We launched with Curious, which means they can accept money online, they can accept money offline, right? And I'm not sure if you know, acceptance for Curious online has been growing tremendously fast as well. Right? In addition, we realized an interesting problem in accepting money offline, which was when someone pays, so you see a static QR, you go pay at the QR, and they have to check their phone to see the money actually came in or not. And they told us that there is also fraud where people say they paid, but they don't actually see the money coming in. So we built out a new product called GoPay Speaker, and what that does is when you make a payment and we know the money is coming, it just calls it out and says that, oh, your money is in. And that product has had fantastic growth over the last year. The second thing that we did was we realized that daily cash flow is a problem. And with most merchant products, you would get money settled to your account the next day. So we built out instant settlements, which was not really offered by anyone else. And we worked very closely with Bank of Indonesia to figure out how do we offer it while ensuring that we have all of the risk controls in place. That helps make sure that if you do a transaction now, you can actually withdraw the money whenever you want to. The third was they wanted to build new ways in which they can increase their cash flow. Now, if you look at MSMEs, they are the heart of the community that they stay in, right? And we wanted to provide more ways in which they can increase the cash flow. So we built out products like cash in, cash out for them to be able to top up and withdraw money. We also built out the ability to be able to do PPOP or top up mobile phones, make bill payments, make repayments, etc. And that ability helps bring them, makes them more key to the community that they're in, and to figure out how do they increase the amount of money that they can make. And then fourth, when they want to grow their business, again, very similar problem. How do you get access to more capital? So we provided lending and other capital directly inside the app. And based on how their business is growing, we can help invest in their future as well, right? All of those four combined was the key principle of what we packaged into the GoPay merchant app. And again, we're happy to see amazing adoption of that throughout Indonesia over the last year. In fact, I feel what I'm most proud of is it's not just used by the merchants, it's used by a lot of single person endeavors who use it to make sure that their business keeps growing.
But from the merchants' feedback, to what extent the app is contributing to the transactional growth so far?
The numbers are very fantastic. I think the merchant app has been probably the fastest growing merchant app in Indonesia for the last year. It's already at a place where it's larger than most of the current merchant apps that you see actually. So again, in terms of their business and how much of it comes over together, I think that number has been growing very, very significantly. Also, I think a lot of thanks to the government for the support of growing the adoption of Curious and digital. And I think we've been We've been very lucky to be in the same time when the government has gone for digitization. We've helped make sure that a lot of merchants get digitized, which means we're capturing a lot of the market as the country moves forward.
Yes, and you also mentioned about MSMEs is one of the backbone, right, of the Indonesian economy.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Looking beyond products, how is GoTo Financial performing overall?
Okay. So not a lot of people know this. GoTo Financial or GoPay became profitable in Q4 last year. And this year, we've only built on that momentum. So we ended the second quarter with about 88 billion in adjusted EBITDA, which is a little over 250 billion better year on year. The key drivers for that have been that our GTV grew roughly about 46%. Our loan book grew about 90%, which helped make sure that net revenue growth is close to about 75-76%, which means we're seeing very high growth overall on all financial metrics, from net revenue to adjusted EBITDA. And this year, we are hoping that as we continue, we will be able to reach the guidance that we set out for the market, which is to reach over 300 billion for full year adjusted EBITDA and $8 trillion loan book. And we feel we are very firmly placed to make sure that we can achieve it.
Mm-hmm. But for the first half, what factors have been contributed the most?
The two factors that have contributed the most, one is payments, because we've seen very high GTV growth as new people come in. And second, the size of the loan book and the lending, that has also helped increase monetization significantly.
And for the second half, what are you hoping for your target along 2025?
So the targets for us for full year this year is to reach 300 billion in adjusted EBITDA, so that we know that we are spending and growing sustainably. And second, to grow our loan book to about 8 trillion by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. But what is your strategy to balance growth with profitability?
A few years ago, when I came to GoPay, a lot of the people at the team felt lack of a mission because we were not really driving an impact. What we did primarily was figure out who to give discounts to. And we thought that's not a good enough reason to come to office, right? And we said, okay, we need to change how we invest. We need to rethink our fundamentals of what is it that we're trying to offer to users. The key change that we have done is it's not driven by discounts. It's driven by the products that you build that solve a real problem for the user. And what we've seen is when you really solve problems, the investment is not in terms of money that you spend. Most of the investment is in building out products that make sense, which we consistently keep doing. And I think that is what we will continue. That's the path that we'll continue on. So on profitability, we are very sure we will only keep improving as we go along.
Mm-hmm. So that's an impactful mission, right? That GoTo Financial always make it a highlight. So amidst of the solid performance, both of the first half and the last year, how are you leveraging the AI?
That's a great question. I think an AI comes up pretty much everywhere now. So I would say our growth in AI has been in phases. The first phase for us was what we call safety and trust. By safety, we started leveraging AI a lot more to detect anomalies, to build out things like facial recognition so that we know when someone is moving money out, it is really you. We started doing more real-time monitoring to be able to improve the quality of products that we offer. Then we went to take that on to our KYC product. So when you come in for the first time, we know that it is you. For example, there's a lot of fraud that can happen if someone takes your KTP and is able to go take a loan at another platform, right? So to prevent that, we first used AI to be able to bring safety to users. And then second, we went to trust. Trust means, for example, we built out a product that we call the split bill. So when split bill launched, people were excited because they do that a lot, but it was still very cumbersome because if you go with a large group and then the person who is to collect money back, it is a very tiring effort to make sure they do that. So we built with AI, what we did was you can take any bill, even if it's handwritten, take a photograph on the GoPay app, and it'll automatically break down the dishes, the promos, the taxes, and then you can choose people and split that out very, very quickly. And that product has been very, very successful over the last year. Now, from safety and trust, then we went on to building a foundation, because we realized that most global models do not take into account the intricacies of Indonesia, the language, and the culture. So we built out Sahabat AI, which helped bring a lot of pieces together on how do we have a new LLM which handles Indonesian languages better than what the global models would. And then third, where we are in now, is utilizing that new LLM or Sahabat AI to be able to offer better products to our customers. We have a lot of pilots ongoing on how do we offer a two-way voice communication to users. It's already helpful for collections and things like customer support. And I think over the next 6 months to a year, you'll see more and more use cases showing up in the app directly.
Can you share to us an example of leveraging AI for users or merchants?
So I think one great example was we launched this product called Dira last year. What Dira does is very simple. So when we met people, we realized that when you look at people who are older, they're generally less tech savvy, and they found it very difficult to find things in the app. And we thought the app was simple enough, but they said, no, it's very hard. I can't find it, right? So what Dira does is you ask Dira for a feature, and you can basically talk and it helps you find it, right? That product got very, very interesting adoption. And we realized that because of our language support, which can handle a lot of local Indonesian dialects a lot better, people were able to use that to be able to find and discover things. That's one example. And we're hoping that we'll actually see a lot more in the coming months as we keep launching this.
Mm-hmm. And how does AI enhance transaction security?
Okay, so AI helps transaction security in multiple ways. For example, today on GoPay, when you're doing a transaction on any platform, this is including for products like BNPL, so AI helps us detect anomalies based on the data that we get. Based on that, we can also trigger things like facial recognition right in the middle of the flow, so that you can stop a payment from going through if you feel that it's not the person who it was intended to be. Second, we do a lot of real-time monitoring, which means if there is an attack in any way, our AI systems can actually detect anomalies, alert us so that we can figure out how do we automatically take care of those so that it doesn't lead to a loss for users.
Okay. Beyond technology, you've also focused on education through the Judi Pasti Rugi campaign. So what's the story there?
That's one that's very close to heart. So our goal always has been driving financial inclusion. And we want to do this while ensuring that we keep the safety of our users at heart. If you look at Indonesia today, gambling, online gambling has been a massive problem, right? Why? Because I think it breaks up families. A lot of money that could have gone into the future of the families goes away. And we wanted to make sure we do something on really improving the quality of this. So what we did was, instead of running an online campaign, we said we need to go do more. So we started off a roadshow almost a year ago, and which went from city to city. We've covered roughly 22 cities so far. We have face-to-face met over 120,000 users or people and explained the problems of online gambling, including real stories of people and families who've seen what happens at the other end of it. And as we've done more of it, we realized that maybe we need to do even more, because the impact of it on families has been very, very drastic. So our goal is to make sure we can keep people safe, which means when we work very closely with the government to reduce gambling as much as possible, whatever we find, and the government has been very helpful in making sure they focus on it as well. So far, I think over the last year, like I said, we've probably met 120,000 people face to face, and the online campaigns have reached out to more than 7-8 million people. Right?
Well, the Judi Pasti Rugi campaign clearly shows GoTo financial commitment to education, or commitment to public education, also financial literacy, right? But building on that momentum, so what are the key milestones that you want to achieve in the next 1 to 3 years?
That's a great question, right? So I think In terms of where we want to go, we are very clear that our mission does not change. Our mission is still to make financial services more accessible, more affordable, and more trustworthy. So, if I think of what we want to do in the next 1 to 3 years, it's probably 4 key things. One, we want to keep expanding the use cases that we offer on both the consumer and the merchant app. We've had some very interesting ones. For example, we launched a game called GoPay Pet, which has had tremendous adoption in the last 3 months. And we launched about 70 mini apps, which have driven a lot of engagement. Right? And we are building a lot of new use cases and features, both on the consumer and the merchant's app. And we'll continue doing that to make sure we are able to continue towards our goal on it. The second key thing is to focus on the national agendas. I think payments and fintech is always very closely connected to where the country is going. The government has a lot of new policies and processes for improving the quality of life overall and a very high GDP goal. And what we want to do is play our part in helping make sure we can get there. And as digitization grows, we want to play a very, very active role in it. Third, we want to continue on our lending products. However, we will always do that a lot more responsibly, which means we will always see growth, but we only want to lend to people where we know it is completely affordable for them and they have the discipline to be able to go back and repay. Last but not the least, the company or our mission is primarily driven by people. I'm a very big believer of building the next set of leaders who understand their communities and who can build the financial products that are needed for the country to succeed. And we continue to invest very heavily in finding the right kind of people to make sure we get there.
All right, so with those clear mission, vision, and also continuous improvement, we believe that GoTo Financial is set to play an even bigger role in shaping Indonesia's digital financial for Indonesia. Thank you so much for your time, President Director for Financial Technology at GoTo, Sudhanshu Raheja. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Demikianlah perbincangan kami dalam program Merdeka Digital. Saya Andi Shalini, CNBC Indonesia, Beyond Business.